Well, here is the next ad break, I guess, the promo from Hulk Hogan for the same show. And they give him a little more time than they give Roddy Piper. Let's see if he makes as much sense as Roddy Piper.
All right, fans, the biggest and the best to be part of the next World Wrestling Federation Spectacular here at the Boston Garden Saturday night, November the 3rd. I'll tell you, I am certain that Roddy Piper somewhat surprised at the Tonga Kid.
Enough of the Gaga, Mean Gene. That right there with the Tonga Kid is typical of what Roddy Piper's all about. And you know, because of these kind of incidences, his name needs to be changed from the Legend Destroyer to the Legend Killer, Mean Gene. The dude actually, I think, has that killer instinct in him, and he doesn't care about winning. He wants to destroy and kill and get anything out of his way. That brings us to the point. The main issue, what's going down. Roddy Piper, the Legend Killer. Yes, you did defeat me. Yes, you did beat me back inside the ring in Boston. But you know something? You didn't pin me. You didn't put a submission hold on me. You took a cheap shot, dude. That's the only way you got away from the Pythons. Well, you know, I've been watching Roddy Piper hit people with coconuts, take advantage of young men in wrestling business, and also try to steal our world title. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about it. A lot of thinking about Mean Gene. I've been thinking about what mean is all about. Why I gave you that name, man. It starts with instinct, then it goes to survival, and it goes all the way back to the beginning. You know, I got a little bit of an attitude problem myself. I got that ability to overprotect myself. And I'm going back, man. I'm going back to the way I was. I made you people a lot of promises out here about standing behind this belt like a man, standing in the center of the combat zone with any man or human being, and playing it all the way fair down the line. But now, this is too valuable. This is too valuable to play by the rules. Roddy Piper, I've been a good boy too long, man. I'm getting crazy, man. I'm getting cranked up, dude, and I'm getting ready for anything that comes with you this time. Because I know I owe you for what you did to me the last time. The way he took that cheap shot outside the ring and then slid back in. You know, it was like being embarrassed, man. I felt a pin drop. It was 1,000 people. It was like 1,000,000 people silent, Mean Gene. I'm getting so wound up I can't even... Oh, I wish I could get my hands on him right now. But the whole thing is, I'm turning kind of psychotic, man. The Hulkster's a stark raving maniac. And the whole reason why is you, Roddy Piper. I've been a good boy too long. I'm going it just the way you want it in the ring this time. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to... Mean Gene...
You know what he's capable of doing.
You know, that's exactly, you know, I don't even know the way I'm going to handle the dude. I don't, last time I chased him all the way back to the dressing room, tore down the curtains, beat on the door, tried to get my hands and tear his whole head apart, Mean Gene. And it's been weeks and weeks. And you know, I wish Piper was here right now. Mean Gene, I just feel like even taking a bite out of your face.
Oh.
But the whole thing is Roddy Piper, the world title is too valuable to give it away. That's why instinct, survival, everything there is, man, is going on the line. And you know something? I'm not going to be a bit embarrassed to answer for my actions. Because everything that I could possibly do to you, even bend a steel chair around your head, bust you wide open from pillar to post, you'd do the same thing to me. And I'm ready for you.
The words of the heavyweight champion of the world, ladies and gentlemen, Hulk Hogan, to defend against Roddy Piper. Boston Garden here in Boston, Saturday night, November the 3rd. Don't miss it.
Oh, boy, he started strong, he tripped in the middle, and he never got his feet under him again, but he had a lot of time to fill. But again, the strength of personality, though, there were all the little Hulkamaniacs were hanging on every nonsensical word.
First of all, how good is Gene Okerlund?
Yeah.
Even the voice, he has the perfect voice for not a commentator, an announcer, someone to tell you something for you to remember. He has the perfect way of delivering it.
Well, and also in his own way, like Lance Russell or any good announcer would do, is when he heard somebody twisting, he could sometimes jump in with just a reaction to something the guy had said to give the guy a chance to fucking formulate his thoughts a little better. But with those promos, you had to fill the exact amount of time because the way those were done, and remember in that one. At the first of it, they referenced Piper and the Tonga Kid. You had just seen that match because they knew, and I learned this when I went to work for Watts, although it was valid to some degree in the Tennessee territory. But when you had Watts's shows or the major promotion syndicated programs that bicycled all over, and it might show this week in one town and that week in the next town, and etc. What they would do is they would read the format of the television show that they were doing the live local promo inserts for, right? And you couldn't refer to something that had not happened yet. So we learned it in Mid-South. I always learned to read the formats which Watts left on the desk at promo day, even though we had already jumped him and beat him up with a blackjack or whatever at the last Shreveport TV taping. Oklahoma City and Tulsa and Little Rock, they hadn't seen it yet, so we couldn't talk about it. So in the local promos, you were taught to only refer to what the viewer had seen on television yet, or you could talk about in the abstract what they were going to see, like the big main event with so-and-so and such is still to come, but I'll tell you this. And you had to keep it straight. And these guys, they just rattled them off like that. Gene Okerlund was a master. Lance Russell was great. Jim Ross in Mid-South. Whoever the lead announcer was, Tony Schiavone at Crockett's office.
Reeser Bowden.
Well, I won't go that far as these guys were. But they'd read the card, or at least the main matches, and then they'd bring the guys in and out, boom, 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 and everybody, like we've talked about before, needed to be on their fucking game, because if you were blowing takes, you were blowing time. If guys had blown even 10% of the local promo takes that we used to do in Charlotte, we wouldn't have been out of there till fucking 5, 6 o'clock that night and still have to drive to Raleigh. So fuck-ups were rare. You just went with it. But that's the thing, is that varying times, in some territories, you get 7 minutes of commercial time. And they would do 2, 3:30 commercial breaks as complete local promo interviews. They'd go on forever. Other places, well, like in Memphis, the Louisville show, they would get, I think, 6 minutes. What they'd do is they'd do a 2-minute babyface, a 2-minute heel, a 1 minute in the middle of Lance reading the card, and then a couple of 30-second spots mixed in. Or, it could be anything in between. Crockett was the 2:28s. Every local promo we did was 2 minutes and 28 seconds because it had to exactly fit the commercial break in the tape of the show that already existed. So we couldn't just say, we need 5 extra seconds. Well, fuck you, we ain't going to show it. So that was, it was depending on the territory and the format, the way they did things. That was the local promos, and you needed to remember what you did the last time in the town, as well as where you were in the television saga. And that's why in Memphis, when I first got in the business, they did them for Louisville, Evansville, Lexington, Kentucky, Nashville, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, and the Tupelo show. So what was that? 7 shows, that'd be 14 interviews. And it would take about an hour, hour and a half on a Monday night in Memphis in the locker room before the card started. And would Lance just stand up against the wall. And whether I was allowed to do interviews or not, I would get there early and go sit in the corner because I'm watching Jerry Lawler, Austin Idol, Jesse Ventura, Stan Hansen, all these fucking guys do local fucking promos. So it was like, just learn by example. And then, Lance was so quick in his own way, but I'll tell you the best blooper, and we'll get off this. Lance is reading the card one night for wherever it was. And on the card, I was managing Tommy Gilbert when he was under a mask as the Ace of Spades, right? And I was also managing Duke Myers. And so Lance is reading it off real quick, and he says, and it'll be Bobby Fulton against the Ace of Spades, Tommy Rogers against the Duke of Myers. But anyway, that's another thing. These guys, even in Ring of Honor 10, 12 years ago, I think I mentioned before, they couldn't wrap their heads around the concept of specifically doing a promo to sell tickets for this match in this particular place, in this particular building. Heels used to, when they'd go into a town every week or regularly every month, they'd get the local newspaper. and they would read what embarrassed the town or what scandal was going on or how bad the sports team was doing. And that would be, promo material for the next week's local promos. Yeah, your fucking sports team sucks, or oh, fuck, your mayor's a goddamn pedophile, or whatever it may be. And you could get heat with that. And you couldn't use it anywhere else, but you wanted to draw money in that fucking town. You didn't care what somebody else was doing somewhere else. And there's none of that personalization anymore. And that's why it just all looks kind of, pasteurized and homogenized and cleaned. I'm done.